In the dim, fluorescent-lit chaos of the prison cafeteria, where the air hung heavy with the stench of overcooked slop and unspoken threats, a hulking figure known only as Jax loomed over the new inmate. She was a slender black woman, her braids neatly twisted, her face a mask of quiet defiance amid the orange jumpsuits and clattering trays. Without warning, Jax's massive hand swung forward, connecting with a sharp crack against her cheek that echoed like a gunshot through the room. Gasps rippled from the watching inmates, but before anyone could blink, something shifted. Jax's triumphant sneer twisted into confusion, then agony, as his body crumpled to the cold linoleum floor. Tears streamed down his tattooed cheeks, his broad shoulders heaving with sobs that silenced the entire hall. What no one knew in that frozen moment was that this wasn't just a fight, it was the unraveling of a buried past, a collision of hidden strengths and forgotten sins that would redefine survival behind these bars. Zara Thompson had never imagined her life leading to this concrete fortress, a maximum security prison nestled in the barren outskirts of upstate New York, where the winters bit like razor wire and the summers stewed in unrelenting humidity. She arrived on a gray autumn morning, the bus rumbling through the gates under a sky heavy with impending rain. At 28 years old, Zara carried the weight of a world that had tested her limits time and again. Her skin, a deep mahogany that spoke of her Jamaican roots blended with American grit, bore faint scars from battles most could never fathom. But on that day, as guards barked orders and shoved her toward processing, she appeared unremarkable, a quiet newcomer with wide eyes and a slight limp from an old injury, her orange jumpsuit hanging loosely on her athletic frame. The other inmates eyed her with a mix of curiosity and dismissal, whispering about the fresh meat, who looked too soft for the yard's brutal hierarchy. From the start, the prison's atmosphere pressed in on her like a vice. The walls, painted a sickly beige that peeled in places, echoed with the constant hum of fluorescent lights and distant shouts. Zara was assigned to cell Block D, a wing notorious for its volatile mix of lifers and short-timers, where alliances formed like fragile ice over deep waters. Her cellmate, a wiry Latina woman named Maria with a scar slicing across her eyebrow, sized her up immediately. Maria had been inside for 8 years on drug charges, her once vibrant spirit dulled by the grind of daily survival. "You don't look like you belong here, chica," Maria said as they settled in, her voice low and laced with caution. "But looks don't mean shit. What's your story?" Zara hesitated, her dark eyes scanning the tiny space, the bunk beds bolted to the wall, the stainless steel toilet in the corner, the single barred window offering a sliver of sky. She offered only fragments. A wrongful conviction, a fight for justice gone awry. In truth, Zara's past was a labyrinth of secrets she guarded fiercely, a tapestry woven from military valor and personal tragedy that she wasn't ready to unravel. As days blurred into weeks, Zara navigated the prison's unspoken rules with a quiet vigilance that masked her inner turmoil. Mornings began with the shrill buzzer at 5 a.m., rousing inmates for count and breakfast. The cafeteria, a vast hall with long metal tables bolted to the floor, served as the arena for power plays. Guards patrolled the perimeter, their batons tapping rhythmically against their thighs, but they often turned a blind eye to the undercurrents of intimidation. Zara kept her head down, spooning watery oatmeal into her mouth while observing the factions, the Aryan Brotherhood in one corner, their shaved heads and swastika tattoos a stark warning, the Latin Kings dominating another, their hand signals flashing like code, and scattered independents like herself, trying to fade into the background. Doubt crept in during those early meals, doubt about her ability to endure, to hold on to the fragments of dignity the system seemed designed to strip away. She had faced worse in the deserts of Afghanistan, where sandstorms blinded and IEDs lurked, but here the enemies were human, their malice personal and petty. Jax ruled this domain with an iron fist wrapped in ink. At 6 feet 4 inches and built like a tank from years of lifting in the yard, he was the undisputed bully of Block D, a white supremacist with a rap sheet longer than the Mississippi. His body was a canvas of tattoos, eagles, skulls, and cryptic runes that told stories of hate and violence. He often strutted shirtless, his orange pants slung low, revealing a torso etched with phrases like, "white power," and "no mercy." Jax had been inside for 15 years on assault and murder charges, his reputation forged in blood. He targeted the weak, the new, the different, deriving pleasure from their fear. Whispers followed him. How he'd broken a man's jaw over a stolen cigarette, how he'd coerced favors from terrified inmates. To the guards, he was a necessary evil, keeping order through terror. To Zara, he was just another obstacle, but one that loomed larger with each passing day. Zara's first encounter with Jax came during yard time, a brief hour of fresh air, in a concrete enclosure ringed by razor wire. The November chill bit through her jumpsuit as she paced the perimeter, her breath fogging in the air. Inmates clustered in groups, lifting weights or playing handball, their laughter sharp and forced. Jax spotted her from across the yard, his eyes narrowing like a predator scenting vulnerability. He sauntered over with two cronies in tow, their smirks mirroring his. "Well, look what we got here," Jax drawled, his voice a gravelly rumble that carried over the wind. "Fresh off the bus, huh? You think you can just waltz in and take a spot?" Zara met his gaze steadily, her heart pounding but her face impassive. She knew better than to show fear, it was blood in the water. "I'm just doing my time," she replied evenly, her accent a subtle blend of Brooklyn streets and island lilt. Jax laughed, a sound like breaking glass, and shoved her shoulder hard enough to stagger her. The guards watched but did nothing. That push was the first thread in a web of tension, a warning that Jax had marked her. Back in the cell, Maria warned her. "Jax ain't right in the head. He's got a thing for breaking people, especially ones like you. Different color, different vibe. Stay clear." But staying clear wasn't an option in a place where paths crossed inevitably. Zara's nights were restless, the bunk creaking under her as memories flooded in. She thought of her enlistment at 18, fresh out of high school, driven by a need to escape poverty and prove herself. The Marines had sculpted her, basic training at Paris Island, where drill instructors screamed until her muscles screamed back. Then deployment to Helmand Province, where she served as a combat medic, patching wounds under fire, her hands steady even as bullets whizzed. She had earned medals for valor, saving lives in ambushes that left scars on her soul. But war had its costs, the limp from shrapnel, the nightmares of fallen comrades. Returning home, she found a world that didn't understand, a justice system that failed her when she defended her sister from an abusive ex. One fatal shot in self-defense, twisted by biased courts into manslaughter. Now, here she was, underestimated once more, her skills dormant but not forgotten. The tension escalated subtly at first. In the laundry room, where steam from industrial washers clouded the air, Jax's lackeys, accidentally, bumped her cart, spilling soiled linens across the floor. Zara knelt to clean it, her jaw clenched, feeling eyes on her. In the library, a dim space lined with dog-eared books and guarded by a bored officer, she sought solace in military history tomes, only to find pages ripped out after Jax's visit. Whispers followed her in the halls. "Jax is coming for you." Doubt gnawed at her. Had the military hardened her, or broken her? Failure loomed in quiet moments, like when she froze during a shakedown, her mind flashing to sand-swept patrols. But beneath it, a fire simmered, a hidden strength forged in fireteams and foxholes. Maria became an unlikely ally, sharing smuggled snacks and stories of her own redemption. "I was like you once, thought I could handle it alone. But prison eats the lone wolves first." Together, they navigated the minefield, Maria introducing Zara to a loose network of women who bartered information and protection. There was Lena, a former teacher in for embezzlement, her glasses perpetually smudged, who taught reading classes in secret. And Tamika, a burly black woman with a laugh like thunder, serving time for robbery, who controlled the black market for hygiene products. They formed a fragile circle, meeting in whispers during rec time, sharing tales of outside lives. Zara opened up piecemeal, her sister's smile, the weight of her dog tags now confiscated. These bonds built her resolve, but the conflict with Jax brewed like a storm. One evening in the common area, where inmates watched fuzzy TV under watchful eyes, Jax made his move bolder. The room smelled of popcorn from a rare movie night, the screen flickering with an old action flick. Zara sat in the back, her mind wandering to tactical maneuvers she'd learned. Jax slid into the seat beside her, his bulk invading her space. "You think you're tough, don't you?" he muttered, his breath hot and sour. "I've seen girls like you break easy." His hand grazed her thigh, a threat disguised as accident. Zara's pulse raced, but she shifted away, her voice steady. "Touch me again, and you'll regret it." The words hung, a challenge that ignited his fury. Laughter from his crew masked the rising heat, but Zara felt the noose tightening. The cafeteria incident built over days of mounting pressure. Breakfasts became battlegrounds, with Jack staring from his table, his fork stabbing food like a weapon. Zara ate quickly, her tray a shield, but isolation weighed heavy. Underestimation fueled her doubters. Maria urged caution, "He's got the guards in his pocket." But Zara's secret past whispered of capability. In quiet moments, she practiced shadowboxing in her cell, her fists cutting air with precision honed by sergeants. Her body remembered. Krav Maga drills, close quarters combat, the art of turning aggression against itself. Yet failure haunted her, a botched mission overseas where hesitation cost a friend's life. Could she summon that strength now, or would prison claim it? The day of the confrontation dawned crisp, the prison yard dusted with early frost. Zara woke from a dream of deserts, her heart racing. In the cafeteria, the line snaked slow, inmates grumbling over hash browns and eggs that tasted like cardboard. Zara filled her tray, finding a seat among her allies. The room buzzed with routine tension, guards chatting by the doors. Jax entered like a king, his shirt discarded to flaunt his tattoos, muscles rippling under ink. He scanned, eyes locking on Zara. With purposeful strides, he approached, his tray slamming down opposite her. The air thickened as he leaned in. "Time's up, sweetheart. You don't belong at this table, or in this prison." His voice carried, drawing. Eyes. Zara met his stare, her fork pausing mid-bite. "Leave me alone, Jax. I'm not looking for trouble." But trouble was his currency. In a flash, his hand shot out, backhanding her across the face. The impact stung, her cheek blooming red, blood trickling from a split lip. Shouts erupted, but no one moved. Seconds ticked. Then Zara's eyes flashed with something primal. What happened next redefined everything. Zara didn't strike back with fists. Her response was surgical, born of years in uniform. As Jax pulled back for another blow, she surged forward, her hand gripping his wrist in a vice. With a twist learned in anti-terror training, she applied pressure to a nerve cluster, her other hand striking his elbow joint. Jax's arm buckled, a pop echoing as tendons strained. But that was only the physical. As he staggered, Zara leaned close, her voice a whisper only he heard. "I know you, Jackson Reeves. 3rd Battalion, Marines. You were there in Kandahar, the day you left your squad to die." The twist hit like a grenade. Jax's face drained of color, his body collapsing not just from pain, but from the flood of buried guilt. Tears welled as memories crashed. The ambush he'd fled, comrades lost, his discharge in disgrace masked by lies. Zara had been there, a medic pulling survivors from the wreckage, recognizing his tattoos, the eagle from their unit, twisted now with hate. In prison, he'd buried it under supremacy, but her words stripped him bare. He crumpled to the floor, sobbing, How do you know?" The cafeteria froze, inmates murmuring as guards rushed in. In the aftermath, the prison shifted. Jax was hauled to medical, his arm in a sling, his spirit shattered. Whispers spread. The new girl wasn't soft, she was a warrior. Zara faced isolation for the fight, but emerged stronger, her hidden past revealed in fragments. She became a quiet leader, teaching self-defense to allies, fostering redemption. Maria stood by her, Tamika too, their circle growing. Doubt faded, replaced by awe. Inmates saw her limp not as weakness, but a badge of battles won. Months later, as Zara gazed at the yard's horizon, she felt a rare peace. Prison hadn't broken her, it had forged alliances, unearthed truths. Jax, transferred to Psych Ward, began his own path to atonement, whispers of therapy sessions filtering back. Zara's story inspired hushed talks of justice, of hidden strengths in the overlooked. And there you have it, folks, that's the incredible tale of Zara Thompson, the woman who turned a prison bully's aggression into a moment of raw, emotional reckoning. Have you ever faced a bully and uncovered a deeper truth? Or do you have your own stories of hidden strength rising to the surface? Drop them in the comments below, I read every one. If this cinematic journey left you inspired, hit that like button, share it with a friend who needs a dose of heroism, and subscribe for more gripping narratives of justice, military valor, and redemption. Until next time, stay strong out there.